Washington these days. Congressman Fred Upton is back with us here this morning to continue talking about that. You, of course, a member of the super committee in Washington. What do you think is the biggest thing that needs to be done to really set us on the right track?
Jobs. That's what it all is. There's a study that came out earlier this week that said that for every 1/10 of 1% that we can increase gross domestic product, so we can go from 2.5% GDP to 3%, that will equal $300 billion in deficit reduction over 10 years. So let's get our country back to work. We see these new unemployment numbers for Michigan in our area continue to go up. Let's work with our businesses. What is it that it's going to take to bring people back? And let's do it and get people working and paying taxes and helping this fiscal situation.
How can the committee do that? And what do you plan to put in place to make that happen?
Well, a number of things. John Engler, our former governor, reached out to me literally the first day. He now heads the Business Roundtable, used to head the National Association of Manufacturers. He's got all these CEOs. They've got ideas on bringing people back. My bet is that the president, in his jobs announcement that he's going to do right after Labor Day, is going to probably talk about free trade agreements. The free trade agreement with Korea, which I think that we're going to take up as early as next month, will add, as an example here locally, $1 billion in exports to Korea in the medical device industry. Huh, striker.
Yeah.
Jobs here. I mean, let's get this thing done and get people back working. Let's export products. Let's look at some of these regulations that are out there that stifle really business development and get moving. And those are some of the things that I think that we can do.
One thing that I've heard you mention this week is changing the tax code and fixing things like that. What do you think needs to be done there?
Well, it's a super committee because we have jurisdiction over everything. And taxes, you take Dave Camp, who's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Max Baucus, who's the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. Those are the two committees with jurisdiction over taxes. Let's figure out, that ought to be part of the equation as we try to figure out how to get people back to work.
Obviously, being from Michigan, you have a lot of experience with us having issues with jobs and trying to bring them back. How do you think that experience is going to help you as being part of that super committee?
Well, we have been impacted harder than any other state. 31 consecutive months of double-digit unemployment. You look at this panel of 12, bipartisan, equal numbers of Republicans, Democrats, House members, Senate members, but we have 2 people from Michigan.
Yes.
And so the impact of what has happened in our economy, I hope, can bring us together, knowing that, hey, everybody that I've talked to, we're pulling for you. Congratulations, but condolences. You got a lot more workload on your plate. Yes, we do. But they're really hoping that we can get an agreement that makes sense and get it done.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Congressman Fred Upton been here with us throughout the morning. We really appreciate it. We'll be right back with much more news.